Guests of Rotarians here on this side of the dining room. No? Okay. In the middle, guests. Everyone looks familiar. And then over here, I know that we have guests. Linda Lutz has a couple of guests.
That's why I was moving slowly.
I have today as a guest returning visitors. We have Marvin Qualls of real estate from Colville Baker. And then we have Arnita Dula, and Arnita has visited before, and she's the deputy attorney for the city of Hickory. We're glad to have her.
Welcome, both of you. Today is a very, very auspicious day. Today is the 49th, today is Charles Snipes' 49th anniversary of perfect attendance. Congratulations for Charles Snipes. Congratulations, that's awesome. I want to give you a reminder regarding membership that George Coates' information is on your tables again this week. So that next week we will make our decision. Is that the case, Linda? Okay, we'll handle it. I want to remind you, we had our County Rotary President's Council meeting on Tuesday. The district conference is in Hickory this time. First time in 20 years that it's actually being held in the district and not in Virginia or South Carolina. It's April 28th through 30th at the Crown Plaza. The cost is $145 for the full conference, or you can register a la carte for various segments that range from $40 to $90 individually. And you can find registration information on the District 7670 website, to which there is a link on our website. Also, the International Convention is in the United States this year and not very far from us. It's in Atlanta, June 10th through 14th. The pre-registration discount rate of $415 expires on March 31st. And now, do I have any announcements from the floor? I don't see anyone on the floor, but I think that Lynn Lair had told me that she wanted to announce something.
Thank you very much, President John, and I don't want to get Can I stand? I'll stand on the floor. Okay. The Rotarian Idol full committee met for the first time this year on Tuesday. We had absolutely wonderful attendance. We had 20 people there. We have an incredible marketing and outreach group that they have all kinds of wonderful ideas. Sandy met with them. She was so excited she could hardly stand it after the meeting. Tara's going to head that up, Philip Reed, and there's a whole group, Ann Williams. So it's a wonderful group, and anyone is welcome to join them, and also the Dream Team. And I met with them. So we have today, Mark Seaman has a list of all of our advertisers from last year, and I have one, and I have been circulating it at my table, and then we'll pass it to another table. Please sign up for some of the slots. What you'll see is 2015 column, 2016, and then 2017, and that's where you would sign up. These are the ones that a lot of people have already signed up from the Dream Team, and we would love to have anybody and everybody on the Dream Team. This year, our date is April the 8th, which is definitely later than what we've had, but we should avoid all of the basketball tournaments, I think. We have our auditions on February 9th and the 11th, and this year, for the first time, we have a poster to advertise the auditions. Our number of people who have come in the past years has declined every year. Doesn't mean our talents decline. It only means the number of people, so there's others out there that we would like to be able to get in touch with. And that's been the biggest thing. People will say, I didn't even know that there was an audition, or has it already taken place when it's 3 weeks later? And that's going to be at the Salt Block. I have probably 25 of these. If you have any place that you can put one up, we would appreciate it. Any questions? Okay, and please sign up on that sheet that will be coming around to your table. And we need new people, so if you have somebody that's not down there and you think they might be a good idea to contact, please put that down there also. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. It's actually a relatively easy job because these are perennial advertisers. Last year I sold over $4,000 worth of ads, and all I did was send each person, I think the most I had to do was send someone 3 emails. Most of them responded affirmatively on the first email, so it's not hard, it's very gratifying. All right, Charles Young is our sunshine today. Charles Young, ladies and gentlemen.
After Rosie's sunshine report last week, I started to just defer so I could balance out the time. But Rosie's not here, so I won't talk about it anymore. You know, I'm obviously getting older every day. Everybody gets older, day older. And, I've had a lot of days where I've gotten older. And now I'm just old. I'm just plain old. Yesterday, and I'm getting so old, I'm getting, you know, passive and all that. And Elaine and I invited another couple to go to the Carolina Wake Forest game with us last night, and they were Carolina people. They had all that awful food stuff on. And, I went over to their house to pick them up, and we went down, and I drove, and, you know, I paid for supper, and I bought the tickets. But we're having a delightful time, no controversy. They're good people. They're real good people.
I wonder who they are.
And I sincerely hope that they were able to find a ride home after the game. You know, talking about getting old, I wouldn't have done this 20 years ago, but I went in a watch store, a little store up in Asheville, and all it sold in there was watches. And I went in, and this young lady, she's probably 30, young lady, came up to me and said, "What could I help you with?" And, you know, I looked at her and I told her I wanted a refrigerator. And she didn't know quite how to handle it. And I got out on the street and I thought, God dang, I can't believe I'm getting that old and crabby. But I'd say that to that girl. You know, I wondered if wives should consider putting photographs of missing husbands on beer cans. That might get some on home. On employment applications, where it says, you know, who to notify in an emergency, I've always wanted to put ambulance. I've noticed as people get older, they read the Bible more. I mean, that's, you know, I've watched that for about 15 years. People get, you know, I read the Bible more, Lane reads the Bible. You get older, you read the Bible more. Then about 3 months ago, I realized we were cramming for the final exam. It's all about. And when my grandchildren ask me why I look so old, I tell them that this old body's traveled a lot of miles and a lot of the roads were unpaved.
Thank you very much, Charles. Did we have any birthdays this week?
Oh my gosh. Let's see, I forgot that too. Chairman Pugh has sent me this 3 or 4 times. I know Susan Walker has a birthday, and John Bray has a birthday tomorrow. He's in China having a hard time over there, Johnny. He missed a flight internally in China. He'd been flying all night. He missed a flight internally. Couldn't speak the language at all. These little Chinese people breaking in line in front of him made him mad as fire. And it took him 2 hours to get his flight rebooked. I said, "What'd you ask about?" That's all the people I remember.
And also, with regard to the health of the club, Jen Bodemiller let me know that Avery Wilfong is back home at Kingston, back at Kingston, after a short stay in the hospital. So we wish him well. Well then, Kathy Greathouse has our program today. Kathy rescued me yesterday because I found out we weren't going to have a program. And so she graciously agreed to step forward and come and tell us about what's happening at the Arts Council. So, Kathy Greathouse, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. And before you give me a review on the program, note that I only knew yesterday, so. But when John asked me to do the program yesterday, I knew I wanted to talk about the United Arts Fund because we spent the last 2 days training about 40 volunteers who are going to go out and make calls on behalf of our annual campaign over the next 6 weeks. Now, the United Arts Fund started about 33 years ago, and I know at least 2 people in this room were part of the initial drive, and that's Charles Young and Charles Snipes. We were just talking about it at the table. It was part of it was rolled into the campaign in 1984 to 1986 to renovate the old Claremont High School into the Arts Center. David Moore was probably part of that too, now that I look out. Well, I don't know who had the idea for the United Arts Fund. We all figured it was probably Harley Shuford because he was a true visionary and you did pretty much what he thought of. So the community leaders decided that a federated campaign that would raise unrestricted operating dollars for certain organizations that would be called funded affiliates would help them thrive even in the highly unlikely event in 1984 that our economy ran into any difficulties. Highly unlikely. But little did they know that did happen at least twice in the next few years. Those leaders also wanted to establish some order to the fundraising chaos that was existing in '84. The Arts Council was charged with scheduling and managing the fundraising efforts of our funded affiliates. And leaders and donors hoped that what that would mean would be that you would not have 7 executive directors sitting in your lobby on some given day asking for money for postage and payroll or other operating expenses. So fast forward to today, and I'm really happy to tell you that the United Arts Fund, over the course of those 33 years, has raised millions for the funded organizations, and that even when the economy was hard hit. In addition, there's become a sense of collaboration and respect among our funded organizations. For the most part, they honor each other's fundraising periods, and we all work together for the good of all. While we continue to ask for underwriting for concerts, plays, or exhibits, we no longer ask for money for daily operating expenses. And this has resulted in more solid relations with donors, very generous donors in our community. It's interesting to note that in the early 1990s, there were at least 100 United Arts Funds across the country. Today, there are an estimated 53. Catawba County is one of those who have survived, but we do it because of the goodwill of the community and hundreds of donors who support us. And we have donors who support us in lots of ways, generally and most traditionally through monetary contributions and pledges. But this past year, we had a great thing happen that Meg Locke, in her Music in the Mill series, gave us $5 for every ticket sold. So we are so grateful for that. It was a very creative way to support 9 organizations, and we look forward to kind of honoring that a little more in February. Next week, many of you are gonna receive a brochure in the mail that'll look like this. And we hope you'll take a look at it and read about it. With one contribution, you can support Catawba Science Center, the Green Room Community Theater, Hickory Choral Society, Hickory Community Theater, Hickory Landmark Society, Hickory Museum of Art, Historical Association of Catawba County, and Western Piedmont Symphony. One contribution. That helps us all. With one contribution, you provide stability for some of the most important nonprofits in our community. Not only do they add immeasurably to our quality of life, but they impact the education of all ages, and they contribute to our economic development. The Board of Directors of the Arts Council feels it's true honor to raise funds on behalf of our funded affiliate organizations. Indeed, it's one of our primary functions. I know at least 2 board members are here, Shuford Abernathy and Lynn Layer, and well, David Milholland has been on the board. He's rotated off. I'm looking around. If I'm missing somebody, I'm apologizing. But what does the campaign really mean for those who are impacted by it? Well, let me just ask some random person, not, I don't know, let me think. Oh, here's a random person. Do you have any thoughts about what the United Arts Fund might do for, say, I don't know, the Western Piedmont Symphony?
Well, you know I'm very random, but the truth of it is the hardest money for any not-for-profit, arts, any area is general operating support. You know, people are willing to give you project-specific money, you know, money for things that they're interested in specifically, but we need that kind of money for general support. The United Arts Fund allows us to operate for about 2.5 months in that area. Some state funding does much the same thing, so we're very grateful for that because that's the hardest kind of dollars for us and for our brothers and sisters amongst the funded affiliates to raise. So we're very grateful for that money.
Wonder if there's another random, just a random.
What is wonderful for me is that it's not just the money, but the money's very important, and I will echo everything John Ross said. Our budget's about $500,000, and with the state and the United Arts Council, we get about $50,000. So that's a chunk. Got a lot more to go. But it's the funds and it's the promotions, and I'm gonna say it's also the executive director who gets all those affiliate directors together and keeps us on track and is somebody we can call. She also, and she's just done that, we've been back and forth with emails because each of us sends 2 individuals who will help raise money for the United Arts Fund. And you guys are gonna be hearing from them. So I'm gonna thank Kathy and what she's done because she has a hard job to make that happen. But it really does work, and it's helping me tell my board members why it's important to have a United Arts Fund. So I think we need to give her a round of applause right now.
I'm thinking random, some person. Would you like to speak for somebody?
How nice of you to ask. Yes, I would. I would like to speak for Patrick Daly, who is the executive director of the Landmark Society. He has a few little words for me, but I'm going to paraphrase most of this. He is very, very pleased with the support from the United Arts Fund. It helps to enable their ongoing operations, such as managing educational programs such as Heritage Days at Maple Grove, and that's one of the things that our Rotary Club has given to in past years. It helps organize annual preservation bus tours, accommodate tourists at the museums, collect and conserve Hickory's artifacts and antiquities for public enjoyment, research and publish local historical preservation books, and manage the technical assistance we provide to property owners. The list goes on, but without such funding, their effectiveness would be diminished. And on a personal note, because I am on the board, I believe the United Arts Fund is an investment in our future. It's an investment that has returns that continue to give to our children, our grandchildren, and ourselves. So I encourage everyone to support the United Arts Fund.
Thank you. Just off the cuff like that. So amazing. Let's see, one more. I'm gonna try to find one more and then wrap it up.
I can see another one back there who might be able to help you about some historical
Oh,
things.
wonder if he's too random. That might be too random. But you're somebody random that I think could do it.
I sometimes say random things. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, in terms of general operating funds, as John Ross said, it is the most difficult piece of things to raise. People like to give to this play or that program or doing this, and actually sometimes those, if we didn't have the general operating funds, we definitely wouldn't be able to do those additional programs, because you've got to have infrastructure, and what the theater gets from the United Arts Fund actually helps provide about 20% of what we need annually just to cover the basic costs to keep things going. We couldn't do as much as we do if there wasn't that infrastructure to support it. You can't do that on a totally volunteer basis. If I may, because you do have extra time, I see a couple of people that I
Great.
might ask the microphone to, who might be able to tell, at least, who participate in various artistic activities that are
awesome.
by the funded affiliates, who might say how those things affect them. You, sir, would you like to say a few words?
Have I
I know you're
ever,
very shy.
have I ever not been willing to say a few words? When I first came to, when I first stopped visiting in Hickory and actually moved here, I was out, one of my first meetings here, I was sitting with John Rambo. And he said he was with the community theater. And I says, well, that's neat. I was pretty proud of what the community theater we had back in America said had gone something like 45 years. That's pretty good. He says, oh, we're at 60. It's been a lot of fun to get involved in a lot of things here, but Hickory Community Theater is one of the special ones. Historic Association, landmarks, all of these things are so great, and it's wonderful to be in this town. I remember, I think it was, I don't remember if it was Mick Berry or somebody else that was talking about economic development and talking about showing people who are prospects for investing here, taking them around to the high school and the salt block and all these things, and the library, and showing them all of the things a community this size ought not to have. And the Arts Council makes a big difference in that.
Yeah, I actually moved here from a metropolitan area that was over 1 million people that could not support a symphony. So that's what you have here from an external perspective. But I maybe ask one other person, because you called attention to him, and he might pick someone else too, because he was part of the inaugural drive. Would you might possibly share a couple words with us?
I would be delighted. I have been involved at some level with practically every one of these organizations. And I know what a difference it makes in our community. Talk to Scott Millar, Economic Development was me. Scott will tell you that these are the assets we have that bring new businesses to our community. So it's a wonderful organization. It's a great opportunity for all of us to support the arts, and I encourage you to participate.
Thank you very much, Charles. We still have a lot of time to fill, so we're all going to sing.
I'm surprised you're going to do that.
I'll hand it back to you.
Okay, I am going to wrap it up. I will not let him do that to me. I just wanted to finish by saying, by encouraging you to support these organizations by attending their programming, concerts. We have heard so much in our community about the loss of a certain generation, a certain age of people, and I think contributing and investing in a vibrant community can help that. I think it works in other places and it can work here along with the other things we're doing to make our community more attractive. So thank you all. I'm glad to answer any questions.
And can you name all the funded programs?
Yes, I can. I can do it off the top of my head.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Catawba Science Center, the Green Room Community Theater, Hickory Choral Society, Hickory Community Theater, Hickory Landmark Society, Hickory Museum of Art, Historical Association of Catawba County, and Western Piedmont Symphony. The United Arts Council also gets some of the UAF as well. And I would have called on Amber Clausen from Historical to say something, but she, as you know, is expecting her first child and has been put on bed rest. So I suspect we won't see her for a few weeks.
Kathy, I think you said a lot to this group about what you do in terms of promotions. And I know I kind of alluded to it, but this idea of promoting what we all have to offer, it's the fundraising that's organized, but promotions is tied into that, and I don't know if you want to say more about that.
We keep a clearinghouse calendar on our website that talks about all the events happening in our community, not just cultural events, but other events as well. And it's a good planning calendar for you, for your organization, or for ours, because you can look, if you're planning something, you can look at our calendar, hopefully, if it's up to date, and know that Rotary Idol is going on April 8th. And so, you know, that would be a good date to stay away from. That kind of thing. We do that. We have a quarterly newsletter that has information about our funded organizations and their events. And we use social media. We use Facebook to promote what we're all doing. For instance, next week, a week from today, on the 19th, the Hickory Museum of Art is doing an opening reception for its exhibit called Woman Made. And it's all women artists in their collection, living and dead artists as I understand it.
She didn't have to say this, but this is very nice.
Well, they got a Project School grant from the Arts Council to help with that, so we're excited about it. So we also hung a show that was at the Newton Conover Auditorium. In our little office, we have a little hallway that we do little art shows. And so we decided to have our opening. Ours happens to be all women artists as well. So we decided to have ours the same night. You can come to the Salt Block on January 19th. This is not just for ladies, this is for gentlemen as well. Enjoy a beverage, maybe a glass of wine or a bottle of water and some a little food, and walk back and forth and see these exhibits. And I think they're going to be stellar. So, isn't that what Neil McGay would say? Yes. So, stellar. But they're going to be great. So, there's lots else going on. I know the theater, Hickory Community Theater, has an opening this weekend. And it's about Florence Foster Jenkins. I think that's fascinating. I told John I should have auditioned for it because I can't sing. But then we decided you probably have to be able to sing badly on stage. So, although I think I can do it. Are there any other questions? Thank you all. Thank you for letting me do this.
Kathy, thank you again for stepping in at the last minute.
There's your list.
My list, oh, thank you. Because this then lets me know, oh, you don't run away. You've got to, you didn't buy tickets, did you?
Yes, I did. So I can't draw.
Okay.
Did Lisa,
Well,
did you guys-
Ellen Horn has our raffle as she comes up. I'll randomly point to someone, see if they might come up, be eligible to come up and draw our ticket. Did you purchase?
I didn't today.
Well, good. Past President Mark Seaman, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay.
Draw a ticket for us.
Somebody wanted, like, Lynn won in December.
$46.
took in 46 today, total's 98.
And there are 51 cards and 2 jokers. And the last 4 numbers on the ticket are 5527. 5527.
So there's nothing.
He was teasing them about putting their dollar. You can almost count on it, can't you? Did you check me out? I did. Make sure, because Michael will say something.
Absolutely.
Typically,
That's pretty low, isn't it? That's it. I'll take the
That should leave me alone. Yes, that's too low.
Usually that's what I got, right?
That's a beverage.
yeah, 'cause sometimes.
Kathy, you mentioned the opening next week, we're going to get a glass of wine or a bottle of water. Is it possible to merge those two and get a bottle of wine?
John, we got a board meeting next Thursday? Board meeting next Thursday?
Yes. There will be a Rotary board meeting next Thursday at 11 prior to. And we do have posters here for Rotarian Idols, so please take one of those with you if you've got a place to put it up. Inside your house is not a great place unless you get a lot of foot traffic. Not that there's any judgment in that. So I'd like to thank our visiting Rotarians and guests and encourage you to please come again. The Hickory Sunrise Club is having their annual Valentine's Dance on February 11th at Moretz Mill. We're going to talk about how we'll participate at the board meeting next week, but there's a Stop Hunger Now food bagging event on March the 4th at St. Albans Church. Please remember your cart buckets for your fine jewelry, change, and folding money. And now let us close with the 4-way test.